Hello, guys. Welcome to today's review. We will be discussing the KTT switches that Squishy Types sent over for review. Again, this video is powered by Squishy Types. I get a lot of my switches and my keyboard modding needs from Squishy Types. Really awesome and top-notch service. The variations of switches that you have there, really good as well, so do check them out. All right, so we have four KTT switches for review. We have the KTT Seasalt Lemon, the KTT Mint, the KTT Peaches, and the KTT Grapefruits. These are amazing budget switches that you should consider if you're looking for linear switches at the price point. Before we begin, I'll give you a sound test of how these switches sound stock. So this is completely dry, no lube at all. There you have it. How is it for me personally? Stock, I think it's good. Very smooth. You can use it stock, which is very important for a lot of newbies going into the hobby. I know the feeling. The first time I went into this hobby, I told myself I am never going to lube switches. I think it's a very complicated and tiresome process. Right now, I do still think that it is tiresome, but I do enjoy the process, and lubing switches for me is an absolute must if you want to have that maximum smoothness for any switch that you have. However, the good news right now is that we have a lot of options. There are a lot of switches in the market right now that are coming out of the box really good, and a lot of switches that I've tested lately, I'm really happy to use them stock. Are the KTT switches one of those switches? It's not a hard yes for me. It's a yes. You can use them stock. You will be perfectly happy, especially if you're just starting out on the game of mechanical keyboards. But for my personal taste, I wanted these switches lube because, boy oh boy, after lubing these switches, they're really transformed into another level. Really good, and I will discuss that in my conclusion. All right, let's try out something new for this video. Okay, guys, I am going to show you blind tests of these switches on the same keyboard, on the same keys, and you tell me if you can tell the difference. Does that sound good? All right, let's start them out. All right, you guys want to find out which of which is which? All right, the first one is your KTT Mint. The second one is the Seasalt Lemon. The third one is the Peach, and the fourth one is the Grapefruit. All right, were you able to tell the difference? Because honestly, I had a very hard time I had to replay the video a lot of times to tell you that for the 3 switches, I wasn't able to tell the difference. They sounded pretty much the same. The sound signature while I was editing it was relatively the same, except for the KTT Mint. The KTT Mint has a deeper sound profile compared to the 3 switches. And we will find out. If you look at this table here, it tells you simply that these are just really recolors of each other. The top housing is made of polycarbonate, the bottom housing is nylon, the stem is palm. The only difference is the springs. So the Mint having 53-gram regular springs, and all the rest, the Seasalt Lemon, the Peach, the Grapefruit, they have the 53-gram progressive springs. And yes, it's just the springs, but again, it does translate to a difference in the sound profile, as I find the KTT Mint to be a little bit deeper and all the rest to be a little bit higher pitch, more clacky, more lively. Is it by much? I don't think so. I don't think it's that much, especially if your ears are not that sensitive yet to those sound profile. Let's now go to comparing these switches with some of its direct competitors that I have tried so far. And my basis for this would be the price point. So we have here the JWK Black, the Gateron Milky Yellow Pro, the Fecker Matcha, the MMD Creams, the KTT Mint, and again, the recolors, the Peach, Grapefruit, and the Seasalt Lemon. How does it compare to each other, given that these relatively have the similar price point? These switches are really smooth once lubed. I don't think there's even a need to compare them. What's most important is to compare them based on the sound profile from clacky, meaning higher pitch, to talky, meaning deeper pitch. These is how I rate them subjectively. So again, please take note, this is very, very subjective, okay? The sound profile will actually depend on your overall keyboard setup. It's not a one-thing phenomenon. So it's not just your switches that will dictate the overall sound profile. But for purpose of giving you an idea on how these switches perform, we will still go with this table. So the clackiest for me are the MMD Creams. These are really creamy and clacky switches, followed by the JWK Black and the KTT Peach, Grapefruit, and Seasalt Lemons. So I think these switches are on the same plane. They might have very slight differences, but for me personally, not that much. The KTT Mint, I would classify them to be on the thockier sound profile, or maybe clocky, somewhere in the middle. And then the Gateron Milky Yellow Pro and the Fecker Matcha. Alright? The loudness of the sound, the loudness would probably be the same ranking. So again, the MMD Creams would be the loudest of these switches. The Gateron Milky Yellow Pro would probably be the most muted. Alright? And again, I told you, when you lube these up, there's even no comparison, as these are all good and smooth switches. Alright? If you nitpick, then probably you would find out that one switch would be less scratchy, more smooth compared to the other. But for me personally, on actual usage, it doesn't matter. So we will compare them stock. And how do I compare this for this table? I will tell you which switches I think can be used without further lubing, meaning you would be happy how it comes out of the box, and those switches that I think would really benefit from lubing. The Fecker Matcha and the Gateron Milky Yellow Pro, I think you don't need to lube them. They are factory lubed. The factory lubing is good, really good for my personal preference. Further lubing may not be required unless you really want to alter the sound profile and make it a little bit more deep and muted. The KTT switches, I put them somewhere in the middle. You can use them stock, but for my taste, it will benefit from lubing. So I would lube them, but you can use them stocks. The MMD creams and the JWK Black, for my taste, I think you really need to lube them. So for me, lubing is required for these two. But again, MMD creams, really love that switch. So here's my final recommendation for the KTT switches. They are really good budget switches. For the price that they're being offered, you can't ask for more. It's smooth, you can use them stock. Lubing them increases the level of these switches by a lot. It goes hand to hand with other high-end switches that I've tried. And I've been using these KTT switches for around a month right now and really enjoying them. I've tried them extensively across all my keyboards. Really good. Yes, they are recolors of one another. The Mint would sound slightly deeper, but for some might not even notice this. The only downside I think would be for me is that they have very light springs. So you either spring swap these, or for the newbies out there who prefer lighter switches, then this might even be a pro. Alright? So the light springs is a pro or a con depending on who you're talking to. The sound profile I think is on the middle ground, which is really good. It's not too talky, it's not too clacky, so it doesn't go very boring, it doesn't go very loud. Middle ground, which I think is really good because you can alter the sound profile further depending on how you configure your keyboard, right? And again, for those looking for budget switches, if you want thocks, my recommendation still goes to Gatron Milky Yellow Pro. Lubed if you want the lighter springs. If you want heavier springs, more aggressive typing feel, you can go with the Fecker Matcha. Okay? For budget clacks, the MMD creams remain to be my recommendation. As long as you lube them, these are very nice switches. Alright? That's it for the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. 1,500 subscribers going to 2,000. I hope to hit that very soon. Awesome support from the community. What's next? We have a lot of keyboard reviews in stored. We do have the Tiger 80 aluminum version, the Tiger 80 Lite, I'm hoping to get one as well, and we have a special budget Alice keyboard coming up. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I do suggest you to hit that subscribe button, the like button, and the notification button, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much. This is Talkie Dokie signing out.